So here's an interesting series of tweets from Sam Witwer, and he's the voice actor for a lot of Star Wars properties. He's most famous for his voice of Darth Maul, whether the Clone Wars, Fallen Order, Solo, Rebels. He's in all sorts of Star Wars related stuff. And he's even an actor on Riverdale, which I talked about previously. So he's I'd say pretty well known. He's got about 155,000 followers on Twitter. And he's talking about one particular police officer who's his friend and how this is in relation to the Defund the Police movement, or at least the hashtag. The problem is no one really knows exactly what that means. And here he has yesterday he posted a tweet on what that actually is. So, defunding the police is not as scary or radical as it sounds. What it actually means, these advocates say, is reducing police budgets and no longer asking officers to do many jobs that they often don't even want to do. So it's pretty much scaling back the role and function of the police and putting money more into specific kinds of people, I think. I can't say for sure. I don't know exactly how that works. Here's another infographic I'm not going to get into, talking about what that means. But before we get into that, we're going to see his actual Twitter conversation he had with, well, just people in general. So it's strange. Don't be shy, Sam. Tell your friend to quit his job. After he said, one of my best friends is a cop and we talk about this stuff every day. And Sam's like, can't, the man's amazing. Man's an amazing moral dude who believes in remaining calm and professional. Not everyone on the police force is a bad cop. This is true. No, I don't want that. I'm saying that you need to apologize. It may have been on a thread, but it was still there for your 155,000 followers. Apologize and accept that you stepped out of line. That's all I'm going to say. I have better things to do than argue with you. Lady, in examining your points and telling you, yeah, you're right, apology is absolutely the intent. If it's your intent, then do it. Now, I don't know what he's done wrong or what he said wrong, but he seems pretty comfortable talking about his friend whom he respects. And there's no reason to apologize for nothing. It's good that if you feel remorse, to apologize. But he shouldn't have to apologize for one of his friends or something he didn't do or something he just said on Twitter, which he doesn't believe is controversial, which he actually believes in. So here he goes. He capitulates to this person. I'm sorry if I made it sound in any way that I defend the system. I categorically do not. Okay, so Sam also doesn't believe in the police force itself, or whatever the system means to him. Yeah, I checked it. You went from my friend is a good dude and a great cop to F the system, and I'm sorry that I offended Rando with my opinion. You can't appease everyone. He's like, no. You said that, so it's on you to check my timeline and see how many police brutality videos I tweeted before that conversation, and he is a good dude and a great cop. I'll wait right here. And he uses the hashtag. So it sounds as if he wants to defund the police. I'm not so sure. Is your friend a great dude or isn't he? If he is, then great. What's the problem? What exactly is the problem, Sam? What are you trying to defend? The police force or just your buddy? Disappointing. Does your friend agree with being defunded? Do you support radical mobs rioting the streets, destroying minority neighborhoods, businesses, and killing innocent civilians? Who are you calling when the non-Twitter mob rushes your house? And then the hashtag is fund the police. Kevin, I'm going to answer that first question, yes. And there are others that have reached out to me saying we need a hard reboot on law enforcement, especially leadership. Okay, so it's more than just the police itself, or as an institution, is the leaders behind the police force. So there's many things going on. I'm sure defund the police involves some reform of some capacity. But you have to be clear on what you're saying. And if it is reform, then simply say reform the police, not defund. When you say defund, you're literally meaning defund, meaning not spend as much money on or remove the money from. That's not a good slogan. That's not an accurate slogan. Reform is a better word, because what you're saying is change things. And there's many things that need to be changed. That's a fine blanket term. I feel like I'm being more respectful than the rabid leftist you want to call friends, but whatever you say, I'm just conversing. I'm confused. Which law enforcement officers will you be calling if they're defunded? They won't be working for free. If they want to come after me because we align 92% instead of 100, they can be my guest. So Sam's like, yeah, it's Twitter. I don't give a shit. They can say whatever they like. And defund doesn't mean there will be zero law enforcement. I don't blame you for not understanding what defund is. Well, can someone please tell us? A cop explained it to me and how it can help reboot law enforcement. I think that's what a lot of people are getting hung up on. They think we're talking about completely scrapping police, but really we need it to evolve. Okay, good. Oh, dude, the language is all over the place and no one understands it. Yeah, because you're using the wrong slogan. And we're worn down and angry, so yeah, but it's actually an idea with merit. So there's nothing wrong with arguing for reform, reforming a large bloated system, or removing a system and replacing it with something else. That's great. You don't start it with a movement based off hatred and racial prejudice and wanting to destroy property or steal property. That's not how you open up a conversation. And now is not the time for that conversation when riots and demonstrations are still going on. So here's a report that was 2 days ago by CNN and a bunch of other news stations saying that how the Minneapolis City Council has already intending to do this. They voted on it. They're going to remove the police force. We've committed to dismantling policing as we know it in Minneapolis and to rebuild with our community a new model of public safety that actually keeps our community safe. So they're removing the police and rebuilding it with something else. We don't know what. But that essentially means to me, they're going to need someone with lethal force. Someone's going to have to be walking around with weapons who are going to be called the police. But it sounds like they want to remove it all. The idea of having no police department is certainly not in the short term. So they're not going to get rid of it in the short term, but they're removing police in the long term? Okay, so again, these are all fine ideas, but you have to replace it with something. And you either replace it with a reformed police force, or you bring it open to private contractors or private police, some other system. If the public sector is not working, you go back to the private sector and see how they deal with it. And there are examples of that. I'm just not fluent in that. This is not my background expertise. I don't know the history of private police. I'm sure the rich use it all the time. But there are systems in place that can do it. And what you should have seen, if you want to go this route, is a slow dismantling between public and private. If this is all it is just we're going to fire everyone and replace them with someone else and maybe add some new programs, well, that's not really a big deal. When you call for 911 or you call for emergency, the switchboard operator will have more buttons to press, depending on what you tell them. The other council members analyzed the nature of 911 calls by constituents, she said, and found most were for mental health services, health, EMT, and fire services. Great. That's normal. That's what 911 is used for. It knows where to send these calls. You don't always call up and send the police over, like with someone who's having trouble breathing or has collapsed. They will call emergency services. Calls by some to defund or outright abolish police departments have grown in the wake of Floyd's death. Yes. So people do actually want to defund and completely remove it. Yes, we are going to dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department and replace it with a transformative new model of public safety. Now that could mean anything. That could mean a military force. That could mean a non-lethal police force. It could be many things. I highly doubt it's going to be a private police force, though. We are going to dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department And when we're done, we're not simply going to glue it back together. We are going to dramatically rethink how we approach public safety and emergency response. So who knows how long this is going to take to figure stuff like this out. It sounds like a very odd thing to consider, especially when you have these kinds of protests going on, violent protests where people are actually getting killed and attacked. It sounds like a bad idea at the time. If council wants to argue on what to do next and consult, that's great. That's a fantastic thing. But this hashtag, the way people are responding, I mean, telling police officers to quit their job, this is ridiculous. This is not how you have a law-abiding citizenry, by just eliminating all the force. People expect protection from their city and their municipality. If they don't get it, they will take matters into their own hands. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys, and have yourself a great day.